Today, we're going to talk about our two-player pinball concept. Now, this is just a prototype, but we do plan on releasing the plans for this, so you can cut this at home if you've got a CNC, but also creating flat pack kits, so all you've got to do is take care of the assembly. Since this is just a prototype, let us know in the comments if you've got any ideas or suggestions on things we could change or add. We're always looking to improve, and there's still time to do it before we make the final version. Now let's dig into some of the details. This is constructed from 1/2-inch plywood, and this one was all cut on a CNC, so all of the alignment for the pegs that hold the elastics and all the components are easy to align and assemble. Here's a quick look at the underside of the gear mechanism that controls the paddles. It's pretty straightforward and rudimentary, but it took a little bit of designing to get it just right. We went through a few iterations to make sure that we had the right control. We have had a few suggestions to switch the elastic on the control to a spring. That would allow for a longer life and we don't have to worry about the elastic snapping. Initially, when we set this all up, it was a little stiff and it didn't slide as nicely as we like, so we actually just used some wood wax to smoothen all the joints and allow for a freer flowing control. From this overhead shot, you can see the entire layout where we've got sort of a player on each end who each control 2 paddles, and then right in front of their paddles, we've got the 2 angled triangle elastic pieces, and then we've got a couple other pegs ahead of that with elastics on them to create some bank shots, and the 2 spinners in the middle. Initially, we had a couple more spinners designed into it, but it kind of clogged the game up and created less flow of the ball going back and forth. We also originally had a bridge at the very middle at the peak, and the idea with that was it had a divider in it, so when you shot the ball into the bridge, you didn't know if it was coming out the left or the right side, but we found the ball got caught up and just bounced back to your own side a little too often, so we removed that feature. The idea is to keep the ball flowing and, have a fast-paced game and not get bored on one end because the ball's on the other end not coming your way. Another design feature that this game originally didn't have was that triangle curve piece behind the paddles. Sometimes with a straight shot, the ball would go through the paddles and bounce off of the back and bounce back into play. So that curved piece is designed to deflect the ball into the corner so you know clearly if the ball went in or not. We initially started this project a few years ago, but we were very busy and it kind of got put on the sidelines, but we have played probably hundreds of games on this one and it's held up very well. You can see a bit of wear from the paddles here, but they have held up 100% and have not failed yet. Based on its current design, you would be able to assemble this with a little bit of wood glue and a screwdriver. Now, we want to keep this as simple as possible so that anyone can, go into their house or their garage and put this together with some basic household tools. That way, when you receive it, you're not having to go out to the hardware store to buy a specialty tool for part of the assembly. That brings us to the next point of what this should cost. Now, obviously, we've got to make sure that we cover our expenses and whatnot, but we want to know what you think this should reasonably sell for as a flat pack kit that you can assemble at home. So that would include all the pre-cut pieces, all the elastics, the balls, the screws, and everything you need to put this together. Please leave a comment below with what you think this should retail for. We're still crunching the numbers on how we can produce these for, as fair of a price as possible so that we can get it into as many hands as possible. This overhead view gives you a good idea of the overall layout and design, and we would love to hear your feedback in the comments about what we could change or add or take away. We're just looking for a fast-paced game that's fun to play. Currently, we keep score just using pen and paper, which, works well, but it would be fun if we had some sort of abacus-style scorekeeper that mounts on the side for easy and quick scorekeeping. One of the details that is still up in the air is how the play starts. So you can see here that we normally drop the ball in to the right or left of the paddles, and that's kind of the way the game initiates after a goal. We have played around with the idea of having the ball drop in at the middle, and then the ball will fall to either side, where it kind of creates a random chance of who gets the ball after a goal, but we haven't decided if that's the best way or not. As we showcase the side of the pinball machine, you can see here that it's got some simple 3-inch walls, and as we move along, you've got these supports that kind of keep the angle and the bow tie that connects in the middle. The idea is to keep this as simple as possible for any DIYer to assemble this at their house. And then here on the underside, we get another view of the paddle controls and how the elastic works with the gear that drives the paddle on the top. This is pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy, and I don't think there's too much to change here since the control works quite well. And here's a full view of the underside so you can get an idea of the entire design underneath the game. Another concept was playing around with the idea of having 2 balls in play, which gets pretty hectic and sometimes hard to follow when you're playing, but adds another element of fun that, can be played anytime. Currently, the overall size of this game is about 24 inches by 72 inches, which is 2 feet by 6 feet. It's currently designed to sit on top of another table, or you could put it on the floor if you wanted to kneel down and play, but we find it a lot easier standing up and playing on top of another tabletop. I think that covers all the details of the game. Now, if you have any questions or ideas, leave them in the comments. We'll be answering all your questions about this game, and we look forward to some constructive criticism and some feedback so we can take this game to the next level and make it available.